Hello and welcome to 50/50. I'm Brianna Eslery and this is my co-anchor Katelyn Bitke.
Hi.
Today's investigative segment will focus on bodies of fresh water. We'll take you in depth into a lake's varying aquatic plant and animal life. Fresh water is typically characterized by having low salt contents.
The plants and animals we chose from freshwater areas are designed to only live in the low salt contents. They would not be able to survive in areas of high salt concentration, such as the ocean.
Lakes are divided into 3 different zones, which are usually determined by depth and distance from the shoreline.
The first zone is the littoral zone, which is the warmest area of the lake. It is at the top of the surface.
The limnetic zone is the area closest to the shoreline.
And the last zone is the profundal zone, which is at the bottom of the lake. It is the coldest and densest area of water.
These zones and their different characteristics will also determine what kind of plant and animal life will reside there. Let's take our first look at freshwater's impact on life.
Freshwater sources are vital to all life. Lakes may vary tremendously from size, depth, and nutrient content, but they hold similar characteristics, such as the light there, the amount of nutrients it has, or the materials that make up the bottom of the lake, such as sand, rocks, and mud. But most importantly, the type of habitat it creates for plants and different types of aquatic life. No matter what lake you may be at, wherever the plants and animals are will remain the same at either type of lake or freshwater area, such as cattails, which will always be at the edge of the lake, or water lilies, which will be inside the actual lake. The amount of nutrients held by a lake depends on the amount of plant life there, so the plants are definitely very important. The more plants there are, the more nutrients the lake holds. Freshwater lakes also support a huge variety of animal life, from reptiles, mammals, amphibians, and different types of insects. The animals may either be a permanent resident at that lake, or they may temporarily stop by there to get something to eat or something to drink. We investigated the plants and animals that we found to be the most common and most interesting in freshwater biomes. Now we're going to take it over to Brianna, our plant expert, to see what she found on our different locations.
Hi, I'm Brianna Eslery. I'm standing here in a bed of cattails, which is actually hiding the lake located directly behind me. Cattails are a really common plant life found in a lake environment. They're found widespread throughout North America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. They thrive in areas just like this with shallow water, but they can also be found in deep flooding areas as well as narrow bands with really deep water. The cattail, as seen right behind me, is a flowering plant, which refers to its reproduction. This brown furry part right here are the flowers. They aren't really known to be useful. They're kind of thought as unnecessary, but they perform specific functions to keep a lake healthy. They filter the runoff that goes into the lakes. They help reduce the nutrients and things like mud that would flow into the lake. They help prevent shoreline erosion from small waves which boats or wind could create. So they're not just aesthetic. They help keep a healthy lake, they help keep it clean, and they produce a lot of good effects. Cattails in specific also provide habitats for small species like blackbirds and ducks. They also are a food source for muskrats. So it's kind of like a mutualistic relationship between a lake and a cattail. The lake helps it thrive and grow, the water source. They need a lot of water to survive, but they also provide benefits for the lake and the surrounding species and plants. Here on location at Lake Papoose to talk about freshwater algae. Come and take a look. You can see it all along these ridges and rocks along the shoreline. Usually algae will drift along to the edge of a lake. Freshwater algae is found in almost every body of water, though it's not actually considered a plant, but a growth. And it's actually a bacterial growth. Algae is a very important food source for many lake organisms, small organisms as well as larger fish and insects. It is also important because it reveals the status of a lake's health. There are things found on the shoreline of a lake called algae blooms, which is just a rapid growth of algae, which indicates that a lake is really unhealthy and there's a lot of unhelpful nutrients in that lake. Though algae is very common in all lakes, there are many different kinds of algae. Something called blue-green algae is very bad for a lake's health. It releases toxins, which can be released also into the air, as well as organisms in the lake actually eating them and creating scum at the top of a lake, which indicate a lot of unwanted nutrients again and means for an unhealthy lake. So as we discovered, although algae can be very beneficial to lakes, it can also be very dangerous. Let's go take a look at one more freshwater plant. We're coming from our second location, just talked about algae. Now I want to talk about another freshwater plant, water lilies. These plants are non-invasive freshwater plants. Water lilies are one of the most easily recognized freshwater plants in a lake. Water lily is made up of a 25-inch diameter leaf, which is attached by a stem to the bottom of the lake, and on top it rests a flowering plant, which is how it reproduces. The flowering plant reproduces by pollination. Usually surrounding insects will pollinate it. Beetles or bees will come visit the flower, and that's how they reproduce. Water lilies typically cover hundreds of acres on a lake. They are seen in big groups and they'll stay together because they're rooted together. Now I'm going to throw it over to my co-anchor, Katelyn, who has investigated 3 different types of freshwater animals that reside by lakes.
That lives around a lake, ducks floating lazily around the water must surely cross your mind. Ducks are made for lake life, from their physical characteristics to their feeding patterns. Ducks are omnivorous animals. They feed on aquatic plants, insects, and small fish, both in and out of the water. Since ducks can eat such a variety of food, they can easily adapt to different conditions. Also, because of the diverse amounts of food they eat, they are one of the most widespread birds in the world, found on almost every continent, and almost always also by fresh water. A duck's mouth holds rows of tiny plates which help them filter through the water they take in and absorb only the food. Ducks also have webbed feet, which allows them to swim in the water very easily. They also have a raised baby toe, which gives them their distinct waddle. When the ducks swim, they have a kicking back motion like this, which pushes the water behind them and propels them forward. Their thick plumage allows them to be very buoyant creatures, and if they dive underwater, they must puff out all their air out of their system just so they can get under. If you look far out behind me, you can see numerous amount of ducks, but they're found in an unreachable part of the lake for us reporters, so unfortunately we can't get any closer than this. Hi, I'm here at Lake Horsetail, where I'll be telling you a little bit about bullfrogs. The bullfrog is the largest native frog in North America. They are brown to various shades of green. Males mate with as many females as possible during their breeding season, which is during the spring and early summer. Females lay thousands of eggs. The males get the female's attention by making a loud, deep-throated booming sound, which can be heard from over a distance of a half-mile or more. The transformation from tadpole to frog takes about 79 days if you're in the southern states. In the Chicagoland area, it can take up to 3 years for a tadpole to transform into a complete frog.
Okay, good.
Bullfrogs eat almost any animal they can capture and swallow, such as worms, insects, small mammals, small birds, turtles, and even other bullfrogs. Since it is the winter season, bullfrogs are in hibernation right now at the bottom of the lake in the muddy areas. During the summer season, you can often find them along the shoreline, like here, or in the slower, sluggish moving areas of water, in lakes or even ponds and small streams. Now that I told you a little bit about the animals that are kind of on the outskirts of the lake, why don't we head inside and look at some fish? Go. Next, I'll be telling you about the only fish I've ever caught, and the most popular fish found in the lake, the bluegill. The bluegill is part of the freshwater group of fish called the sunfish group. Their colors are blue-green on top and a dull gold below. When breeding, their nests are prepared on shallow sands and gravel bars, such as over here. They are routinely stocked in lakes as food for the largemouth bass. Bluegills are also density dependent, meaning as their numbers increase, their relative sizes decrease. Bluegills feed on insects and worms. They often feed at night and are attracted to dock boat lights, where insects are also found. So if you plan on going night fishing, bluegills are the fish to look out for.
So, as we've seen, lakes as well as other bodies of fresh water have many interrelated factors, including plant and animal life, which contribute to the success and health of a lake.
We hope our investigation on the biology of a lake was interesting and informal.
I'm Brianna Eslary.
And I'm Katelyn Vicky, and thank you for joining us on 50/50. We'll see you next week.
Oh my God! Katelyn!
I got that on film.
That is the second. Dude, I almost fell in the mud.
You did.
That is not cool, dude. Stop!
Animals there can either live there permanently or just come there temporarily to get something to drink or eat. The plants and animals we investigated.
What was that? That car just drove by in the middle. Okay, I got it. They're also important to tell. I don't.
Your hair is messed
I hate
up.
my life. Okay, wait, what's wrong with my hair?
Your hair looks poofy. Alright, that's better.
Better?
Yeah.